Committed to bringing you relevant and up-to-the-minute news on local and international maritime trade, this is Nimasa This Week. Hello and welcome. My name is Iretiola Doyle. Now, any meaningful progress is premised upon a sound policy framework, and the transport sector is no exception to this rule. Now, the forum that provides a platform for the formulation of sound policy to drive this sector is known as the National Council on Transport. The 13th session of this council took place in Lagos recently, and our cameras were there, and we bring you this report.
The Civic Centre on Victoria Island in Lagos provided a fitting venue for the opening ceremony of the 13th National Council on Transport. The National Council on Transport is an annual forum where the leading lights in the transport sector congregate to formulate policies for the development of the transport sector nationally. The council is headed by the Honourable Minister of Transport and consists of all commissioners of transport in the Federation, as well as heads of transportation-related agencies and organizations. This 13th council was hosted by the Lagos State Government, hence the attendance of the Governor of Lagos State, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, at the opening ceremony. Dr. Kayode Okpeifa, the Lagos State Commissioner of Transport, gave a welcome address on behalf of the state.
On behalf of the people of Lagos State, once again, I welcome you to the State of Excellence, the transport and economic hub of Nigeria and the West African sub-region. As we all gather here for the 13th National Council of Transport meeting to review transformation of transport infrastructure, catalyst for socio-economic growth, and which will take advantage and opportunity of the vast transformation of the transport infrastructure in Lagos State, Nigeria's transport infrastructure sector, and its great impact on the prosperity of the state and the people of Lagos State. To my fellow commissioners for transportation from the 36 federated states of our nation, let's take advantage of this council meeting to deliberate on the issues we have always discussed on phone with each other, the needed transformation and unbundling of the enormous opportunities and potentials of the transportation sector of our country as a catalyst for the socio-economic growth of its economy and prosperity. The whole nation and its people await the outcome of our deliberations. There cannot be a better opportunity. There cannot be a better host, and there cannot be a better time than now. Once again, I welcome you all to Lagos and wish you a happy deliberation.
Senator Idris Umar, the Honourable Minister of Transport, then gave a keynote address, parts of which made mention of the giant strides at Nimasa.
You are aware that the National Council on Transport is the highest advisory body on all transport-related matters in the country. It, amongst others, set the agenda for policy formulation and formation, as well as the policy framework for regulation in the sector. The council meeting in particular is an avenue for dialogue and exchange of ideas. The meeting enables us to share experiences and synchronize efforts of the federal government, the states, and the federal capital territory, as well as those of other stakeholders, in order to build consensus and attain resolutions for the development of the nation's transport sector. It is pertinent to state that efforts have been intensified on stakeholder engagement to encourage indigenous operators in the private sector to form various joint venture outfits so as to acquire national carrier status in line with the provisions of the Nimasa Act. In addition, I am glad to state that Nimasa has recommended applications from 6 indigenous operators for the acquisition of funds under the Cabotage Basic Financing Fund, CBFF. The recommendations from Nimasa are being evaluated. Appropriate approvals and disbursements will be made upon the conclusion of due diligence.
Governor Babatunde Fashola then took the floor and gave an address and declared the deliberations of the council open.
Before I proceed to do my very simple task, which is to declare this meeting open, let me lend my voice to the necessity for regulation in the transport subsector of our economy. But in doing so, may I also argue that legislation must be such, and I think that much we have heard, that promotes the participation of private capital and private sector skills in the organization and the operation of public transportation services. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I must now do my very simple task, which is to declare this council meeting open, and I wish you very much.
Concluding proceedings at the opening ceremony was the Permanent Secretary in the Federal Ministry of Transport, Engineer Nebolisa MOD, with a vote of thanks.
On behalf of the Honorable Minister of Transport, Senator Idris A. Umar, the management staff of the Federal Ministry of Transport, I would like to express our profound appreciation to Your Excellency, Mr. Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN, Governor of Lagos State, and the government and good people of Lagos State for graciously hosting the council, and for Your Excellency's keen interest, passion, vision, and commitment to the transport sector of our economy. We appreciate the presence and participation of all Honorable Commissioners of Transport from all over the states for their presence and participation in this council.
As to be expected, Nimasa, as a strategic stakeholder in the transport sector, attended proceedings.
Nimasa's participation is important because we have to collaborate with all stakeholders in the country in order to deliberate on issues that affect transportation in Nigeria. In the areas of maritime transport, road transport, rail transport, or modes of transport, there is need for all operators, regulators, and stakeholders to come together and discuss important matters affecting the transport problem in Nigeria.
Ibrahim Jubril went on to give us a synopsis of Nimasa's contribution to this year's deliberations.
I know this is an annual event, and every year Nimasa makes its own contribution in terms of policy draft that we make into the policies of the national policies on transportation as far as the water transportation is concerned. And this year we have made input into the issue of cabotage. We have made inputs into the issue of developing maritime institutions in the country. We have mentioned the issue of the ongoing project of the Maritime University and what we are doing in 4 universities with regards to developing maritime institutions. These have been our contributions in terms of capacity building. Okay, we have also made financial contributions to the conference, and this we have been doing year in, year out. Okay, and of course, this is too small a time to mention the various contributions that we have been making, but there are very many other areas that we have made contribution apart from capacity building, apart from regulatory framework for operation in the maritime industry. So in brief, this is what Nimasa has done this year in the 13th National Council on Transport meeting holding in Lagos.
The Federal Ministry of Transport has set up a Marine Board of Inquiry to investigate the explosion involving MT African Hyacinth at Okolo Launch, Bonny Kalibiama on September 30, 2012 and the explosion of barge S215 at MRS Jetty, Tinkan Island, Lagos on January 9, 2013. The Board of Inquiry hereby notifies the members of the public, communities, organizations and groups that have any relevant information and suggestions that could help the board in its assignment to submit memorandum to the Secretariat of the Board located at Rockview Hotel, Apapa, Lagos within 1 week. The board wishes to use this opportunity to assure all port users and investors in our maritime industry of government's preparedness to protect their investments, including lives and properties, in and around the ports. The board also wishes to appeal to members of the public and the following stakeholders to take advantage of this opportunity: International Maritime Organization (IMO), International Group of P&I Clubs, International Tanker Owners Pollution Federation Limited, the Marine Police, owners of MT African Hyacinth and barge S215, Group Managing Director, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation (NNPC), PPMC, Nigerian Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, communities affected around Okolo Launch, Bonny, Kalibiama, River State, Messiah's Clean Nigeria Association, a consortium of oil companies, jetties at Tinkan Island ports, the Nigerian Navy, P&I Insurer, Managing Director, Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA), Director General, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency (Nimasa), Manager, Tinkan Island Ports, the Harbour Master, Tinkan Island, Lagos. This notice should serve as an invitation to all stakeholders who might not formally receive our letter of invitation to appear at the sitting of the Marine Court, Rockview Hotel, Apapa, Lagos, commencing with public hearing on Tuesday, November 26, 2013. Signed, Chief Magistrate Nureni Kuranga, President, E.I. Swanta, Secretary.
The Lafayette is the world's biggest ship-borne fish processing plant. The Wonder on the Ocean is 228 meters long and 32 meters wide. The vessel acts as a primary fish processing plant with 32 refrigerated holding tanks with a capacity for 10,000 cubic meters and can process more than 1,500 tons of fish daily. The Lafayette is a floating fish processing factory that sails alongside a fleet of super trawlers, thereby ensuring that the trawlers need not return to port to unload their catch. Transporter ships come alongside the vessel to evacuate processed frozen fish to shore. This saves a great deal of money in both fuel and additional labor costs, allowing the trawler fleet maximum time for fishing. The Lafayette rarely comes to shore as fuel and food supplies as well as crew are all transported to and from the vessel, allowing it to stay out at sea for extended periods of time.
The term green shipping is the one adopted by the shipping industry, which simply captures their attempt to look inwards to find ways to make the shipping business a lot more environmentally friendly. Up next is a special feature on this subject, and it is brought to you courtesy of the International Maritime Organization.
Every day, tens of thousands of ships deliver millions of tons of cargo all around the world. They bring the basic goods in which we all rely on, such as fuel, foodstuff, commodities, raw materials, as well as the finished items that are the essentials of modern life. Ships, quite literally, carry global society in a cavernous hole. We all depend on them. Even though many of us do not realize it, ships burn fossil fuel. That's a fact of life. And burning fossil fuel means greenhouse gas emissions. That's another fact of life. Overall, however, shipping's contributions to global greenhouse gas emissions is small. A study revealed it to be just 2.7% of the world's total emissions in 2007. Despite the fact that shipping is responsible for carrying more than 90% of the world trade, earlier this year, the International Maritime Organization (IMO) made history when it adopted the first ever set of mandatory requirements that will result in greenhouse gas emissions reductions from international industry sector. These requirements are based around two measures: the Energy Efficiency Design Index, or EEDI, for new ships, which is a complex formula to accommodate new ship types, and a Ship's Energy Efficiency Management Plan, or SEEMP, for all ships, including those currently in operation. These concepts established measurable energy efficient benchmarks for individual ships according to type and size. They have enabled IMO to devise a mandatory phased timetable requiring specific improvements in vessel efficiency over time. Improved vessel efficiency means less fossil fuel is burnt, which benefits the environment through the reduction of greenhouse gases. These new measures could reduce CO2 emissions from international maritime transport by up to 180 million tons annually by 2020, as well as helping ship operators save about $6 billion in annual fuel costs. The application of the EEDI and the SEEMP became mandatory in 2013 thanks to a majority decision taken by IMO's Marine Environment Protection Committee in July 2011. The new regulations will form part of the MARPOL Convention that regulates most sources of pollution from ships. What makes this such a historic breakthrough in the context of climate change negotiations is that the requirements applies to all ships regardless of whether they are registered in developed or developing countries. A clause in the regulations allows countries to defer applications for a period of time.
Nigeria has not yet ratified that Annex 6 of MARPOL. We are working hard at doing that. And while we are working hard at the ratification, we're also trying to see what we can do. We are trying enlightenment in the first instance. That's the first thing we need to do to the ship owners. So we are working hard at that. Very soon, I think it will come, it will be approved for us to have that. At least we let them know what is going on in fact, the current trend and the fact that Nigeria is about ratifying this. What do you have to say? Let us have your, because now we are trying to work together.
And it was this compromise that enabled the new regulations to be adopted. But all ships, regardless of their flag states, would be subject to the requirements up to 2019. In a letter to the IMO, the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon congratulated the organization on what he described as a significant outcome and referred to IMO's leadership role in addressing GHG emissions from international shipping. In the fight against global warming and climate change, this represents a major milestone and sends a clear signal that shipping and IMO, the industry's international regulator, are serious about the problem and committed to finding a solution.
The Nimasa Science and Technical College Okoloba in Delta State is about to commence academic activities. The first set of students that were admitted into the institution recently were formally accepted into the school for registration as they, alongside their parents, were invited to the Nimasa Zonal Office in Warri for registration and documentation. Up next is a report on that activity.
The establishment of the Nimasa Science and Technical College Okoloba in Delta State further indicates the readiness of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency to take maritime development in Nigeria to another level. The much publicized registration and documentation exercise for student applicants seeking admission into the Nimasa Science and Technical College Okoloba Delta State has taken place. The school was established by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Nimasa, as part of its efforts towards capacity building in Nigeria's maritime sector. Addressing the successful applicants, the Warri Zonal Coordinator of the agency, Akin Akinyosui, assured the students that the exercise was meant to ensure that the information given by the students were accurate. He also advised the parents who came with their children to guide them properly in the filling of the forms.
As you have read in the papers and also in the radio advert, you are supposed to come with some very important documents, your original certificates from the various schools, your passport photographs. You're also to be here also with either your parents or your guardian and with their passport photograph. The exercise is a very important exercise because it is to verify all what you have actually indicated in the information supplied and your application. So this process is very important for us to confirm that you are the real student, you are the one that had the certificates, and also to confirm that you are the one that is going to the school.
The principal of the school, Enere Pamo Suteya, gave some useful information about the school.
Well, Nimasa Science and Technical College is prepared because we have the hostels, we have the workshops, and we also have the cafeteria. We also have the sick bay, and etc. We have already conducted an interview for the teachers, and already some of them are successful, and we have given them an appointment letter.
The Warri Zonal Coordinator of Nimasa, Akin Akinyosoye, gave the objectives of the school to include development of the maritime sector in Nigeria. He also said the exercise would be a continuous one.
This program, as it's been laid down, as it's been envisaged by the agency, is very laudable. It is in fact a wonderful thing. I will also describe it as being very transformed in the areas of the maritime industry. You will recall that agency started this kind of program in line with the World IMO, referring to the slogan of Go to Sea. Nimasa started with the National Seafarer Development Program, which is already on the top gear, and this is a very good step now, having Nimasa Science and Technical College in our operational area. It is a wonderful development. It is a very good thing, as the principal has equally said. The students are going to go through practical experience of areas of operations as far as Nimasa, as far as maritime is concerned. We are very proud of this program and will take this program to the next level.
The notion of many Nigerians about recruitment and applications into government-owned institutions is that such processes are marred by corruption. But the response of these parents gave the indication that the selection of the students was transparent.
It's absolutely an excitement to me because I least expected it. I had it the way other parents had it on radio, and I sent my child on a Saturday for the interview, the written exams. There was indeed a very strict atmosphere where the exams was held somewhere in Area 3 in Gariki. And after a couple of weeks, initially on the day of the exam, they actually told us the result was going to be out in 2 weeks. So they're going to hear from parents in 2 weeks. But I was stunned. It took a couple of months, and then I was surprised when I saw my child's name on the pages of Nigerian papers that he was successful in the exam.
Giving admission to our children, we saw it in paper after the exam, so we are grateful to the federal government and Nimasa in particular.
Some of the children were very much excited about their successful admission into the college.
I'd love to thank Nimasa people for treating us as students into their organizations. And I would like to advise other people that are coming here that they should make their parents proud because it's a privilege.
I want to thank the government for giving us this privilege. It's not bad, I'm making it fine. They gave us this opportunity. I'll be very happy because it's not every student that got this opportunity.
The establishment of the Nimasa Science and Technical College, Okoloba in Delta State, further indicates the readiness of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency to take maritime development in Nigeria to another level.
Packed episode aside, we still found time to go trawling through our email box to bring you answers to what we have determined to be the most frequently asked questions on our show. And this week, we begin like this.
Our frequently asked question for this week is, what are the various health services offered by the medical unit in Nimasa? Mrs. Ngozi Okafo, a principal nursing officer in Nimasa, obliged us with the answer.
In medical, we offer maritime service and health service. Under maritime service, we offer search and rescue service, and that one, when there's intimacy or distress on sea, we go there as medical team to rescue the people that are affected. We give them first aid treatment, then we take them to the hospital where they are giving management, and their shipping agent will take over from there. But if it's onshore, we evacuate them, we still give them first aid treatment before taking to the hospital. Then pertaining the health service, we take care of our staff, even seafarers and dock workers. Then we also examine seafarers, give them medical examination, and also issue certificates. And this is in line, that's minimum requirement for maritime policy.
And that brings us to the end of this week's edition. As always, we hope we kept you educated and informed. Now, please don't forget, Nimasa This Week is an interactive show. We want to respond to your comments, your questions, and even your criticisms. All you need to do is to send an email to the address currently showing on your screen. Now, I'm going to be here, same time, same station next week. Until then, we're wishing you smooth sailing and bon voyage.